Hello, and welcome to our webinar about automatically managing keys and encrypting emails and making that all invisible to users. My name is Bob Erdl, Senior Director here at Kiteworks, and let me introduce our Vice President and General Manager of European Operations, Dario Perfettibula, and he's very important to today's presentation. He co-founded the advanced email encryption vendor Totemo, which is what we're going to be talking about quite a bit today. He took it to market as their CEO and sold that company to Kiteworks just over a year ago, and now is in charge of all of our European operations.
Thank you for having me with you.
Before we get going, let me just give you a couple of housekeeping items. One is you should see a Q&A tab, probably in the upper right hand of your screen, unless you change the layout. You can put in questions as you go along. Please type them in any time. We'll probably hold them to the end, but although we may answer some of them along the way if they're pertinent to what we're talking about at that moment. If you have technical problems, you'll also see a chat tab on your window. Say you're having trouble getting sound or something like that. Just click that tab and our producer will work with you to help get that problem fixed. And also you'll notice there's a get a demo button. If you need attention from us at Kiteworks, not necessarily a demo, but maybe you need us to send you some collateral or you want to have a short call with us to answer a question. Just click on that button, fill out the form, and we'll get back to you typically within about 24 hours. So as I was saying, we're going to talk about the acquisition Kiteworks made of Totemo a year ago. Fantastic Swiss company, specialized in email encryption, and that's now an integrated feature within the Kiteworks platform, something that we're calling the Email Protection Gateway, or EPG for short. And so we're going to talk about how that Totemo technology is fully integrated as a feature now, how that works within the system. We're going to talk about the benefits and the feature set, how it fits into the Kiteworks platform, and also towards the end, we're going to talk about how you select, do I need just the traditional Kiteworks email protection or do I need the new EPG protection? So Dario, maybe you can say a few words about why Totemo, the mission that you drove there, how what you were doing created such a great fit for the Kiteworks company and the Kiteworks vision.
Yeah, sure. Well, Totemo was founded in 2001 by 5 people, and one of them was me. We had from the very beginning the idea and the goal to bring something to the market that would protect the most widely used business communication tool, which is email. And we did not focus only on security or securing or encrypting emails. We were thinking also about how the users should work with that technology and that platform. And we wanted to make it as transparent as possible to the end user. We wanted to put as much as automation into it. So meaning that encryption policies should be automized, should be centrally automized. Key and certificate management should be automized and all these things. And also very important, and that's why we decided for the gateway concept, was not to use plugins or add-ons to the email clients. We wanted, as I said, keep them using their used email environment they were using before. And of course, the still most popular and most distributed email encryption technologies like MIME and OpenPGP and SSL should be supported as well. And I mean, before we've been acquired by Kiteworks, we had and we served more than 100 of companies in the German-speaking area of Europe, meaning Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, mainly. And there are also worldwide acting companies like BMW, Volkswagen, Deutsche Telekom, Deutsche Bank, UBS, of course. I think everyone knows now UBS, who UBS is, and Novartis, just to name a few. And in the course of the discussions we had with Kiteworks, both sides, but also mainly Kiteworks, realized that they were not buying just a company, they were buying also a big portion of technology which would perfectly match into the vision of the private content network.
Thanks. Let me give you just a little bit of an orientation. If you're familiar with Kiteworks already or the Kiteworks platform, a lot of you've probably seen this sort of a standard architecture picture that we show of that private content network. And what we're talking about today is specifically the email capability. So the Kiteworks platform, of course, protects your systems of record, the different kinds of private content that you're going to communicate with your external third parties. It provides those layers of unification. So you get email, file sharing, MFT, web forms, APIs, has the ability to communicate with the outside world over all of those, providing tracking, security, control, and being able to host in a number of ways. Either you host it yourself on your own premises or on your own systems in the cloud, or we can host it for you in a different set of ways. All of these things that are true about the Kiteworks platform are true about the email protection gateway that we've added to the system, and that we're going to be talking about today. Now, Dario, lots happened since that acquisition a year ago in January. How have we moved forward together?
Oh, it happened a lot. It happened a lot. So, it was clear from the very beginning that Totemo would become the European headquarters of Kiteworks. So at that time, we focused on integrating the Totemo employees into the existing Kiteworks organization. We adapted the processes and procedures, not only on the administrative area, but also on the operational area. We, of course, integrated and expanded the technical customer support, and we established the Kiteworks Competence Center in Bulgaria, which today already employs 14 people just for QA. There are a lot more people, but just 14 people for QA, and we will continue to expand that team there. And also, I would say that just the fact that we integrated and brought EPG into the Kiteworks platform in the time frame of less than 14 months, it shows how effectively and how purposefully we worked in the last couple of months doing this merger between Kiteworks and Totemo. Yeah.
All right. Now, this email protection gateway is ready for production at scale. And what we mean is, it's not just that we plunk that code down into the Kiteworks product, but it fits in a complete way. Maybe you can say a couple words about that, Dario?
Yeah, as I already said, we integrated EPG, the former Totemo mail technology, into the Kiteworks hardened virtual appliance. This means that it simply extends the Kiteworks clusters as you have today. The EPG cluster works the same, and you administer EPG roles just like the traditional Kiteworks roles. In terms of performance, Totemo mail scale-out features have been applied into the Kiteworks cluster to handle the largest enterprises. So performance was, for us, also on our focus. And it works like before in all configurations, like high availability, as you can see on the slide here. The EPG nodes handle massive traffic. As I said, performance was for us very important from the very beginning. And all the email in your organization will be deployed then in the separate nodes from the core Kiteworks functions, such as file sharing and administration. And of course, you can configure, as it's shown here, to ensure the components in the DM set store no data, does not store any data or metadata.
Great, thanks. Now, we've got a set of slides here to go through. Dario, can you tell our audience of, I think mostly this is current Kiteworks customers who we have here today, what additional value they'll get if they add the email protection gateway to the systems that they have today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please, let's start with the first slide of it. We have a few things to discuss about it, or I can tell about it. So, as I said, as I already mentioned, a high degree of automation was very important when we started with Totemo. And so it also here, it is an important part of the EPG. The automation offers our customers the possibility to also automate security relevant aspects of email encryption when sending out confidential emails from the inside to the outside, and when getting external emails to the inside of the organization. Automation, especially automated security rules and automation in key management and certificate management eliminates the risk of error and also mishandling of an email by the end user. Automated security policies help the end user not to take the decision. It's the gateway, it's EPG taking the decision when an email needs to be protected and when not. And combined with the automated key and certificate management, you have at any time the right keys and the right certificates at your hand, and the gateway, the EPG, will act accordingly. In addition, administration is considerably simplified because of that, because you define the policies regarding how an email needs to be protected and when it has to be protected, and what kind of keys and what kind of certificates you trust to. So it's not the end user taking that decision, it's EPG taking this decision based on the policies you already defined.
Interesting.
So yeah, extending the reach. Existing Kiteworks customers know already how logging and auditing are unified across all communication channels on the Kiteworks platform. So we extended these capabilities by adding outbound and inbound email audit trails as well. What does this mean? As an example, if an external communication partner sends an email with an attachment, which is then stored in a shared Kiteworks folder, and from there it's moved to another server, and which is then again downloaded by a third party, you have full traction and tracking about these transactions that happen to that file. And everything happens on the same platform. So regarding the centralization of the administration is also a very important topic. Also here, we have unified the administration backend also for email, not only for the remaining Kiteworks functionalities. It means that the administrator has a unique administration interface where they can administer user policies, certificates, and so on, all through communication channels.
Oops, sorry. Just testing you there.
Yeah, email privacy is also a very important topic, meaning that we support with the gateway concept, we are not dependent on an email client or a specific email client. We support all of them. They just have to support the standard email protocol, which the most of them do, like Microsoft Outlook, Mozilla, Thunderbird, email, and Mac Mail, Windows Mail, of course. The gateway acts as a central server between the email infrastructure of the sender, of the internal user, and the external communication partner. And the external communication partner does not need to have the same infrastructure like the sender, so your own infrastructure. It doesn't need the same equivalent infrastructure. Outgoing and incoming confidential emails go through the gateway and are encrypted and decrypted based on the policies that are stored on the gateway and also tracked at the same time. So this allows you to have full control of your outbound and inbound email traffic. Yeah, and here again, I already mentioned it, having it as a central positioned platform, basically EPG, ensures email security in both directions, inbound and outbound. Outgoing emails can be checked for content before they leave your infrastructure. You can use for that, for example, DLP. And then once they're past the check, they are encrypted and sent out. Incoming emails, once they come to the EPG, they are decrypted and then checked for malware, viruses, and so on before they are forwarded from the gateway for the EPG to the internal user. I will come later on to the topic of the internal encryption to explain you how you can add even more security to your internal email traffic in combination with EPG. Okay. So yeah, and even here, you have already heard it. We had from the very beginning the goal to support the most used email encryption standards like OpenPGP and SMIME. They are, I mean, especially SMIME is natively supported by all email clients. So you don't need to have any plugin at any end. PGP usually needs a plugin. So having the gateway EPG as a central place in your infrastructure, and it supports OpenPGP and SMIME, the internal user don't have to worry about the technology used by the external communication partner. He doesn't have to care. It's EPG taking care on what kind of email encryption he will adopt to the external communication partner once the credentials have been exchanged. So also here comes the fully automation, because it's EPG handling everything. The internal user doesn't have to think about, oh, I have an external communication partner that uses OpenPGP. I need a plugin. I have to install something. No, it's EPG taking care about this issue. And EPG will also exchange the credentials with the external communication partners to establish a secure communication channel with them.
Okay. So those were the benefits. Now let's talk a little bit more about the use cases. Get a little bit more into the how and both how it works and how you can apply it in your organization. And so, as you heard Dario talking about, there's external encryption for communicating with the outside world with the gateway, internal encryption that he just talked about, and then there's something called end-to-end encryption as well. That's very powerful. So why don't we start here? And I know, Dario, do you want me to do the Kiteworks part, or do you want to do the?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So before Dario shows you how the Totemo encryption fits into the Kiteworks system, we thought it would be a good idea to give you a little bit of a background or a reminder of how the existing or traditional Kiteworks email encryption works. And this, of course, still exists in the system. This is the starting package that comes out of the box. And so the way it works is that if you've got the senders up here at the top and you've got the external parties down here at the bottom, the sender has to use one of these user interfaces: web interface, which is a specific Kiteworks interface, a mobile interface, or plugins. And so they can be working, for example, in Outlook or Salesforce or iManage or something like that and use a Kiteworks plugin. But this will be one of the differentiators as we move forward. As you see, the traditional Kiteworks requires that you use one of its clients. So it sends the email contents to the Kiteworks server, and the attachments are encrypted and stored there. If you've decided to protect the message body, that's also encrypted and stored there as well at rest. And then it gets sent when the recipient receives the email, which goes through the normal email server path. They click a link in the email and it pulls down to their browser where they can open the attachments and open the protected email. So that's the traditional Kiteworks. And now let's have Dario show you how it works with EPG added in.
Yeah, let's start from the top and go to the bottom. You have the email client, the internal email client, where the user just writes his email and pushes the send button. It goes to the email server and then comes to the email gateway, EPG, which then will check, first of all, is there a security policy that I need to adopt? I mean, a security policy based on email can be defined on every attribute of the email. It can be the sender's name, it can be the recipient's name, it can be the decision, is there an attachment, is there not an attachment, is it a certain format of the attachment, so is it an Excel sheet or is it a PDF? So every single attribute that an email has can be used to define a security policy. And there, before the email is sent out, the EPG can check for special attributes and also use DLP to see the content, to check the content, and then check are the credentials of the recipient available? Meaning, is the recipient known to the system? Does he have an SMIME certificate, which is still valid? Is there a PGP key or whatever? If yes, then the EPG will encrypt the email accordingly and send it out, and it will arrive to the recipient's mailbox. If the credentials are not known to EPG, it will establish a communication with the external recipient saying, hey, there's an email for you which I can't send to you because I don't have your credentials. Here are the options you can use to get a secure message from our side. And you can choose between SMIME, PGP, web portal, registered envelope, whatever kind of technology the external communication partner wants to use to get his encrypted email. Once he sends back his credentials, the gateway again, EPG will again check, is the certificate valid? Is this a valid key? And if yes, it will take the key and encrypt the email and send it out to the external communication partner. And this happens only once. Once the external communication partner has defined his credentials or the way he wants to receive his encrypted emails, the gateway will only get back to him once the certificate, especially with SMIME, will expire. So the gateway will proactively notify the external communication partner, telling him, look, in 1 month, and this is a time frame you can define yourself, how many months or weeks before the expiration of the certificate you want to notify them. Your certificate is going to expire. Please provide us a new one so that we can continue on this path to communicate with you. So also here, there's an additional layer of automatism that EPG provides to the Kiteworks customers.
Okay, so that was the email encryption gateway use case.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different ways to configure this product. So this is the internal encryption use case that we were talking about.
Okay, internal encryption basically applies on the same concept of the gateway. Still, you have the gateway EPG as being the last resort of outgoing emails and first resort of those emails that are coming in. But there's a layer in between, which is called the encryption virtual appliance. So what does it mean? Usually, with the traditional gateway concept we've seen before, you're protecting only the outgoing emails and you're decrypting the incoming emails, but inside of your network, the emails are not protected. They're just plain text. So if you want to add an additional layer of security, you can go with the internal encryption, which basically provides to the internal user a certificate, SMIME certificate, which is used by his mail client to encrypt the outgoing email until it comes to the gateway. There it is decrypted again, and you can pass all your checks you want to do, like DLP, malware, whatever you want to check with. And then it's encrypted again with the credentials of the external communication partners. What does it mean? It means that, for example, administrators have no access to your internal email box, because the same thing happens for the inbound emails. Once they come to the gateway, they are decrypted, then pass all the checks like antivirus, anti-threat, and malware. It's then re-encrypted for the internal user and sent to his email box. So at that point, on the email server, there's no mailbox where you have unencrypted emails once they've been protected before. This is an additional layer of security that many of our international customers use just to protect their internal email traffic as well, and not only the outside email traffic.
Okay, so then just to review what we've seen so far, the first use case is if you want to protect email going across the open internet. This use case is more, I want to protect my employee email that as it goes through cloud providers, say Google or Office 365 or what have you. Correct.
And you can use, essentially, you can also use the same certificates that have been provided by the gateway. You can use them also for your internal email traffic from mail client to mail client inside of your network. So you don't have to go with an expensive PKI technology to provide to all the users PKI SMIME certificates. You can use those that have been generated by EPG.
Okay. So now there's this third use case, end-to-end, where the customer wants encryption from the sending client to the receiving client. No server in the cloud anywhere can read the files. No admins, no vendors, no government. How does this one work?
Again, this is the highest level of email encryption that you can have, because as it says, it's end-to-end. So from the sender's mailbox to the recipient's mailbox, it's through-way, it's encrypted. So there's no disruption, there's no decryption and re-encryption like it is with the internal encryption. Here it is from the sender to the recipient encrypted. Also here again, we need the encryption virtual appliance, which provides for a key. And this key is provided to the sender once he presses the send button. Also here, the concept is still the same. We don't want to work with plugins. So everything is here is plugin free. Once he he pushes the send button, the virtual encryption, the encryption virtual appliance will look for a key for the external communication partner. If there is one, it will take it, push it to the email client of the sender. The email is encrypted and sent out, and goes through the email server, goes through EPG without being touched, arrives to the recipient's mailbox, and there it is decrypted by his email client. If there is no key available, the encryption virtual appliance will ask the recipient again for a key. He will say, hey, I need a key from you. It has to be S-MIME, because only S-MIME works without plugins. It has to be S-MIME, and please provide me with a digital signed email so that I can use this key to encrypt the email for you. So again, the internal user doesn't have to care about key management, key collection, and so on. It's EPG that will take over all these features and functions.
Now, so Dario, one of the criticisms a lot of times with end-to-end encryption is that, it's fine if you're an individual user and you're using, say, Proton Mail, but if you want to be an enterprise, you need to do things like for compliance. You need to maybe run a DLP scanner on outbound mail, and things like that. I mean, is there a way that you can do that with this end-to-end encryption?
Not on a gateway. This doesn't work. You need to have it on your mail client. You have to install then a specific software to do so. If you want to check for antivirus or DLP, so content scanning, you need to do it locally on the mail client, because as it says, end-to-end means it's encrypted from the beginning to the end without any interruption. Usually, most of our customers use this method when it comes to high sensitive information that is exchanged between the board and the management, between HR and the management, and so on. For a larger scale, usually you go for the internal encryption, which is the second highest level of security you can have in email encryption. And it still allows you to have all the central means like antivirus, anti-malware, anti-threat, DLP, and so on.
Now, you mentioned, the powerful policy controls. This is a screenshot of at least part of the administration console for controlling those. Maybe you could go through this a little bit with the audience.
Well, yeah. Also here, it was also one of our goals we had from the very beginning, to not provide a scripting language to the administrators or to the security officers. We wanted to have a visual, a graphical user interface to them, that they can design their security policies by having decisions. You see that with the rumps and the squares on the bottom. You take a decision and you add an action, what happens to the email. And here also, you basically design your policy through the email flow for outgoing emails as well as also for the incoming emails. And you have various, as I said, I mean, the EPG provides so many attributes on what you can define your policies, where you really can, with this graphical user interface, you can define your security policies based on every attribute of the email. I mentioned it, name of the sender, name of the recipient, organization unit of the sender, and so on. And is there attachment? Is there not an attachment? And you can easily design it with this graphical user interface called the rule designer.
Excellent. Now, our existing Kiteworks customers or any new prospects who are thinking about going with Kiteworks, obviously this brings up a question of, well, do I need EPG, or is the traditional Kiteworks email good enough for what I need? And so here we've built a couple of slides. Obviously, you've talked about all these benefits, but I think it'll help if you can show the benefits in terms of a side-by-side comparison.
Well, in summary, as I said, the big advantage of EPG is that all your organization email travels through EPG. And not only, you can also go through with unencrypted emails to this platform, to EPG. This means also you can apply automated policies that decide which emails need to be encrypted, which don't have to be encrypted. It's not, again, with the end user, it's the EPG that takes the decision based on what you have defined before. Also, the audit log now covers every email, not only the encrypted one, but also those that are not encrypted, meaning everything that goes out, everything that comes in can be tracked, can be logged, and can be protected and reported. EPG also lets users to still work with their infrastructure. They don't have to change the email clients. They don't have to change the email server. It perfectly fits in every email environment. And it basically helps you to reduce the costs because you don't have to change in the way you work with email and in the way you use email. And even there, the established standards like OpenPGP, MIME, and SSL are supported. So even here, you don't have to take care about having additional plugins installed, add-ons, and so on.
Okay. Oops. Yeah, I didn't change it soon enough here. I think you covered some of this already.
Well, yeah, there's an important point, like the large attachments up to 16 terabytes. This is still possible, also with EPG, but given the nature of email and also the limitations you have of most of the email servers, you will not be able to send out and receive such large file attachments to an email without using a plugin. This is not given by the technology, it's just given by the limitation of the email format and the protocol of the email. So the rest, of course, I mean, Kiteworks offers a great number of features, but I think when it comes to email encryption and all what is with email protection, email encryption, then I think you need also to take EPG into consideration.
Okay. So thanks for all that, Dario. It was extremely enlightening. And I want to remind everybody, so thank you for putting in questions as we went along. But those of you who haven't asked your questions yet, please type them in now. You should be able to see a Q&A tab on the right side of your screen where you can type that in. I'm going to look through what we have already. Okay, so yeah, we get this question a lot when we talk about this. Can we just turn this on in our existing Kiteworks deployment? You know, and I assume the question means, can I just get a different license? As a lot of the Kiteworks features, like you know, Enterprise Connect or something like that, you just get a license key and that's all you need. What's different here, though, on this one is, as you saw, Dario talked about how performance is so critical because all the email in your organization is going through this. You actually need to put EPG on a different appliance. Or if you're doing high availability or you need to scale out, it'll be multiple appliances in addition to the ones that are running the Kiteworks core of say, file sharing and SFTP and things like that. And so you don't just turn it on. That's something that's only possible in kind of demo mode. For true performance, you're going to need at least one additional node for EPG. Another question is, you know, what does it cost? Does it cost more? And so there are three main packages right now. There's an encryption gateway package, there's an internal encryption package, and an application integration proxy package. The pricing is going to get simplified very soon, so it might be down to just 2 packages, I think, Dario.
Yeah, at the moment, it's been decided that basically you will have one main package where all the features will be included, even internal encryption, even the end-to-end encryption. The only thing that is, for the moment, not part of the package will be the antivirus and anti-malware feature.
Okay. Well, and here's a related question. Let's see. I guess the way to make sense of this one is I've got thousands of users, but I only need encryption for about 20 of them. Do I need thousands of licenses in order to get that encryption for 20 users?
No, you don't. Basically, you can license the number of users that need that feature. I mean, you don't have to expand it to the entire organization if it's not the need that every employee needs to encrypt emails. You can reduce it to the number of employees that really exchange confidential information with the outside.
Okay. And let's see. Yeah, I think a lot of these you've already answered. Yeah, I mean, you said this one, but let's repeat it anyway, because this might be helpful for people. What if a user sends to an outside recipient who does not have PGP or S-MIME?
They still can use their email client as they do right now, because it's EPG handling all the keys, all the certificates, and this means also the PGP keys for the external communication partners. If you have internal users that are using PGP and they have keys installed on the email client, you can export them and reinstall them on the EPG, and they will use by EPG then to decrypt incoming emails.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I think you answered this one too. How can we get our business users to follow the security procedures? They hate training and they hate computers.
Well, that's a known problem in most of the organizations. Also here, I mean, it's EPG then taking control of it and preventing users from doing mistakes. It's EPG based on the security policies defined, taking action and deciding, is this email to be protected, encrypted or not? So the end user still just sends out the email, and then the EPG will take over control and act accordingly.
Okay. The question that's coming from a couple of people in the chat is, can we get the email of the slides and the presentation? And so yes, so we will be sending out an email, thank you email to everybody who attended this. And so you'll have access to the slides, and also there'll be a link to a recording of the presentation. And pretty soon this presentation will also appear on our website, so it'll be easy to send people there. Let's see, what Q&A didn't we answer yet? Our legal department uses PGP, but so lots of trouble. Every day we have help desk tickets for keys lost and mistakes. Can those people use this? Sure, absolutely. As I said, if there are existing keys around, you just can export them and reinstall them on EPG, and EPG will then take them over and use them for decrypting incoming emails. And for outgoing emails, they don't have to care because it's EPG centralized handling the keys and the certificates of the external communication partners. So the internal user doesn't have to care about policies and certificates and keys. It's just EPG taking over this. Okay. It looks like that's the last of our questions. Oh, wait, one came in the chat. Okay, I think, okay, well, I don't think this is us, but maybe you can talk about how we integrate with this. We get a lot of spoofed email trying to get our users to click on bad links with mail that appears to be from other employees. We want a method of authentication so users can see at a glance that a given email is legitimate. Can this product offer that?
Yeah, I mean, also here, basically what EPG does, I mean, first of all, it is you inviting external communication partners to communicate with you through email encryption. It's not your external communication partner just sending you an email inside of your company saying, hey, here I am, this is an encrypted email. Second one is that basically the EPG can check based on digital signatures if this is a valid email, if the sender is the correct one, if certain attributes of the email apply. So I think EPG here also provides the best level of email security that you can have.
Okay. Yeah, I know when I get emails from all the Totemo people, there's a little badge on each one of them that shows that it's legitimate. And we're rolling that out to the rest of the company right now. So, okay. All right. So that is the last question. And no more in the chat either. So I want to thank everybody for attending. Dario, thank you very much. Thank you for doing a great job on this. And as we said, everybody who attended this is going to get the presentation, a link to the presentation, and a link to the recording so that you'll be able to forward this to other people and they can watch it too. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.